What is up, guys? It's Brillymister here, and just doing a little bit of Slayer. You can see in the background, but that's not really what I want to talk about. Sort of more, I got like sort of like a new series sort of thing. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm really excited about making it, and hope you guys as well. It's basically, I can't really explain it. It's fairly difficult to explain, I guess, but it's sort of like interviewing like random people off YouTube and just like from around the Irish community. Some of which you may have heard of, some which you may not have heard of. I'm trying to confirm a couple of like high-profile guests to go on it. Not going to reveal who they are yet or who I'm trying to get and stuff. But if you would like to leave any comments below that you'd like to see asked, maybe it's going to be more like based on like what their opinions on updates and stuff are. So like updates, how they got into RS and stuff, basically stuff like that, YouTube and all kinds of things, and just stuff about them. So like if you want to post any like general comments, and then when I got some people that are definitely confirmed, I will like tell you who they are, so you can ask more specialized questions, etc. So anyway, I think I have got the audio working hopefully today, so I'm going to go over the topic that I have gone over twice so far, and is now going to be going over for a third time, and that is what is my opinion on 120 skills. I have mixed opinions on them. Like some of them I reckon could do with it, like or just like a major overhaul of the skill. Whereas others, like I don't think 120 combat stats, because other than maybe hit points, because like not only really unfair that like some people like Suemi would jump to 120 in all stats almost pretty straight away, but like 120 combat stats, can you imagine how easy stuff would be with 120 attack, strength, defense, range, blah 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 blah? Because like when you'd overload, that put you to almost 160 stats, which would be ridiculous. Can you imagine Bandos? You could like, if you went to Bandos in Torva, and that then like at the moment, if you go to Bandos in Torva and a Divine, all you need is basically prayer pots and a unicorn, and you're fine. Whereas if if you did that, then with that you could probably take almost a full inventory of overloads and just stay forever. It'd be ridiculous. So yeah, that's basically why 120 combat stats I don't reckon would be very good. And can you imagine that in the worldie? Just 120 combat stats. Oh, you know, I'm just going to hit a casual 900 with a whip, followed by a 1500 AGS spec. It would just be ridiculous. And I reckon it would probably make next, I don't know, legitly soloable without like safe spots, because I think the problem is at the moment, I've never actually soloed next myself and don't intend to for a while, but I think the problem at the moment is that the amount of damage you can do through the blood phase, I believe, with it siphoning, you can't quite do enough damage or something to overcome it if you legitly do it, but you can do it if you like safe spot it so it can't hit you with its blood barrage and stuff. I think that's roughly how it works, I'm not sure. But I think you would be able to do a legit next solo though if you had that. Although I don't know actually, because the damage would still be capped at 500. So it would be a close one, I reckon, I'm not sure. But stuff like hit points, I reckon that's definitely an improvement, because like as it is, I guess people in the wildy, like you can almost one hit someone already. I mean, you can hit like Darox can hit like into the 900s easy. AGS can hit like with super pots, I guess like 700, 800 maybe. I don't know. It's a fairly high amount, and I think probably more hit points would be a good thing in there. 'Cause, I mean, you have to time the spec better rather than just, you know, AGSing on like 800 with them on 800 life points and hoping for the best and then one hitting them, which would be like bad. However, there are like on the skilling side of things, it doesn't necessarily have to be 120 skills. Just like overhauls of the skills like would be good. Like more stuff like Herblore, like the untradeable things like overloads. But I reckon they could like work that into at least 5 or 6 different skills. I mean, mining, you mine the untradeable ore, you can smith it into untradeable armor and weapons maybe, which you need high level, which would obviously have to be slightly better than chaotics, but I reckon still maybe a little worse than next sets. I'm not sure, but they could work that in there, and then they could do farming. You farm the material or something that then you craft into mage and range armor, or you have to kill the monster, like say to get like the D-hide or something like that for crafting for range armor, and then you could get wood cutting and fletching to make untradeable arrows and bows, and they could introduce like a whole load of stuff like that, which would encourage people to train skills so much. Because the only reason I trained Herblore was literally for overloads. Like if overloads weren't there, I'd still be 40 Herblore or wherever I was. Actually, maybe a little bit higher than that, maybe about 60. But if it wasn't for overloads and stuff like that, I wouldn't have done that. And like prayer, you only train prayer because the useful prayers like turmoil. So if you think about it, you only really would be trained, like the only reason people train them skills at the moment is for max cape, if you see what I mean. There's nothing useful they get from having 99 smithing, for example. What can you smith? A rune plate body. Useful, right? But if they did them up to 120 and there was, or just overhauled it so there was some untradeable stuff you could make in there. Think about that, if you could make like an untradeable plate body, it was like, I don't know what they call it, some kind of plate body, demon plate, I don't know, something like that, some kind of plate body and stuff that you could make with smithing, and all like the weapon or something as well that you could make. And I think that kind of stuff would be really good and like help the game a lot, like benefit it by people training skills just for the want to train skills to get the better equipment, rather than just to train them for the sake of training them because it gets them a little cape at the end. Which I think that'd be healthier for the game, especially if they had like a lot more new bosses and stuff like that that you would maybe need some of this, and people would like make it a requirement that you have some of this gear for, and that sort of like encourage people even more to train the skill if they want to get in a good team to get that, to kill that boss, which would make them money, if you see what I mean. So it all goes around and would improve like all parts of the game. Think about it. But there is like an argument, I guess, against 120 skills unless it's a new skill, because if it's a new skill like Dungeoneering was, then everybody starts at 0, don't they? So it's like on a level playing ground. But if you did something like, I don't know what's been out, Herblore, that's been out since like 2002, hasn't it? Something like that. If you did something like that, people have had plenty of chance to get loads and loads of XP in it. Like people that have over 200 mil XP, or not over 200 mil, over like 104 mil XP, whatever it is, they would instantly jump to 120 in that skill. And that'd be ridiculous. Like they wouldn't have to train anymore. But then again, they have already worked to get that XP, so it's no different from if you trained it anyway. You'd just have the advantage that they've already got it rather than having to train it already. But they have still had to spend the same amount of time training, and they might even have to spend longer training because, you know, never know, they might introduce more things in there which are higher XP rates and stuff, like at the higher levels. Like Dungeoneering at high levels is insane XP. I mean, it's already pretty good XP at my level. I'm only like 94, almost 95 though. It's almost 95. But I'm only 94, and it's like one of my the best XP skills, and like it just gets better and more enjoyable as well as you get higher levels. I think they need more skills like Dungeoneering, which is an enjoyable skill. Like if they introduce something else like rune crafting, just no, just get out. That's a horrible skill. Although Runespan, I'm hoping that's going to be good. Just even if it's worse XP than ZMI, but you can AFK it, like I don't mind that. Or you could pay attention to it and get like maybe 120k XP an hour. Either way, it'll be like amazing. Just any way other than rune crafting to train rune crafting is good for me and everybody else in the game, I guess. But I think they should sort of explore sort of 120 skills maybe for some of the skills, but then it would look a bit weird if you just had a random like 120 cooking just gets plonked in the middle out of nowhere. Like weird stuff like that could happen. But there has been some updates that I was thinking, you should make that completely untradeable, like potion flasks, instead of putting the daily limit on how many you can mine or whatever from, and then getting money from them. If you could do as many as you wanted, but the actual potion flasks were untradeable, so they were something that you actually had to do the quest and everything to get the ability to make them, so you could obviously be the best that you could, rather than necessarily doing them just so you can do your 50 a day to get a bit of money or have them like that. I reckon that would have been a much better way to like introduce that to the game, and also like skills that are useless. They could, I know this isn't really like 120 skills, but they could try and find a way that makes them sort of useful in some ways. I don't know how they would do that, because stuff like thieving and firemaking, there's like, I swear down, there's no way you can make either one of them ever useful. Would the game be any different without thieving? It would just mean the requirements for quests, you would just be able to do it straight away rather than having to get 50 thieving or whatever it is for desert treasure. That's the only difference it would make. And fire making, who actually uses the fires you light for, what do you call it, for cooking, that's the one. Which I guess it was originally intended for, is lighting the fires to do cooking. You know, it's stuff like that they could do with an update, making it a bit better. But then that's like, yeah. Basically, yeah, that's the way to describe it. Meh. But at the moment, and another one, comp cape. Imagine how hard comp cape is, because I think, like, at the moment, all you need is the 99 every skill and like the 120 dunge is the only difference. It would make comp cape a lot more difficult, but like more exclusive. But I like Suomi and stuff, like even people around the top, they have a lot of 200 mils, but I think they still have skills that are under 104 mil XP if you think about it. So if you go by that, no one, or even if some people do that I don't know of, but very little people would have comp cape. Like I think that'd be 104 mil XP, that'd be 110, 20. You'd need about 3 bill total XP just to get the comp cape.